Ay, 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 ay. Yay, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 dum. Yay, ay, 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 ay. Yay, ay, ay, ay. Yay, ay, 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 ay. Yay, ay, 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 ay. Yay, ay, 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 ya, bye, ay, 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 ay. Yay, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Yay, ay, 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 ay. Yay, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Yay, ay, 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 ay. Yay, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Yay, day, day, day. Yay, day, 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 day. Ay, 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 day, day, day. Yay, day, day, yay, yay, day, yay, yay, yay. Boker Tov, good morning. Another day, another morning, another opportunity to scratch our heads, wondering what seems to be our way in the world. Another day, another stuffy nose. That's also what it feels like. Another day where we are left wondering what the future will bring. Another day where we are just uncertain, unsure, feeling a little bit out of place. Some of us and others are, I think, quiet because perhaps they may know that the way of the world is maybe not what they thought it was going to be given their decisions and choices. But here we are, continuing to show up because this is what we do as people, as Jews, as our community is very much here to celebrate the triumphs and victories and the high moments, and also to gather together when things are difficult and troubling and when we're left wondering and wanting. So this week's parsha, this little bit of wisdom, uh, is Parshat Bishalach, or Bishalach, depending on how vowely you want to be under the bet. So this is when we learn about the Israelites' departure from Egypt and their kind of roundabout trek in the wilderness. And so we like to just look at a map and say, like, okay, we went from here to here, and it was a direct, straight shot. But like we know, this is not Waze or Google Maps. This is not the way the traveling was in the wilderness. And how did they find their way? And well, the details are kind of missing. But nevertheless, they were on their long trek. The Israelites cried out. Of course, they cried out. They spent their whole lives crying out. Chadal mimenu. Sorry. V'na'ada et Mitzrayim ki tov lanu. Avod et Mitzrayim mimutenu b'midbar. These words say, let us be. We'll serve the Egyptians. For it's better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness. Let me read it again. Let us be, and we will serve the Egyptians. For it's better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness. This sounds to me kind of like an accusation that Moses was leading them to something worse. It's kind of like when we always say that, the grass is always looking greener on the other side, but yet, You don't know what that grass is all about. It only looks nice, right? Okay, we're free. We're going to where we'll be. But we kind of know already what we have. And even if it's not perfect, we'll figure it out. We'll navigate it according. We'll make the best of it because you know what? Now we're scared to move forward. The Israelites, the Jews, were full of complaints. They quarreled about the lack of food. They said that there was hardly any water, and the water that they could get was bitter. They couldn't even drink it. They were exhausted. Their travel was out without a shortcut because they felt like they were walking in circles. And so imagine being the leader where everybody is grumbling, right? You're a boss of your house. It could be children, it could be spouses, it could be pets. It doesn't matter where you are. You're in a place of employment and you have people you're working with or working above or under, and everybody's grumbling, and that just makes for the falling apart and the unraveling of what could be the potential in the world. And so Moses' response to this grumbling was, Adonai yilachem lachem va'atem tacharishun. That God will battle for you. Hold your peace. Meaning shut up and let it just happen. You'll see it'll turn out for the best. Folks, when I think about these words, hold your peace, it makes me feel like in today's environment, in today's climate, in today's culture, in today's day and age, in these moments, in the last however many days it's been, 15, it feels like it's been 5 years already. The term should be over after 4. I can't say that we can get on board with God will battle for you. Hold your peace. Don't hold your peace. It's time for us to speak out. The Israelites are accustomed to living as slaves. Their ability to take action on their own behalf, physically, spiritually, emotionally, is unheard of. They've just been following the laws, the rules of the taskmasters at hand. How could they listen to Moses' message from God telling them to move forward? Could this be, though, even though they'd rather go backwards, could this be for them the first step in reclaiming their own abilities? Could crossing the Sea of Reeds be physical and spiritual, both together, liberation for them? Could it be that this was going to be their big break? Okay, life has been the way it is. You're accustomed to it, even though it's slave ship and terrible. But maybe, oh, maybe, this could be your big break. In this week's Torah reading, Saturday morning's reading, is Shirat Hayam, meaning the Song of the Sea. This poem, poetry within Torah, depicts God's triumph, the triumphant power of God, with a summary of the events that occurred while crossing the sea. Okay, we may not know all those details, but there's something that we all know, something that we've all heard, that falls right in that text, which is Mi Chamocha. Who is like you? Mi Chamocha. It concludes with this affirmation of God's redemption of our people. Why? Because they're now free of Egyptian rule. It's powerful, to say the least. In those moments, there is power, there is strength, there is, we made it, we're making it, there is potential for us going forward, even when we don't feel it. The Mi Chamocha is one of those things that is significant. Though the melodies that we may hear, the ones from childhood to the ones maybe, when we went to college, maybe we heard it here for the first time, it's always changing, right? It's never the same. The music keeps the traditional words, but the melodies change. And the power of music keeps the message of these ancient words alive. And so, for many of us, music unlocks our memory and connects us with the past, but as well as the present. When I was doing Shabbats in nursing home, it was like I had to go back to all of the older traditional melodies because it was the key to reaching, the key to unlocking this place for these residents in the nursing home. Certain prayers like Shema, Mi Chamocha in this case, sung in what we label traditional tune, was mind-blowing. It's kind of like there's certain tunes for high holy days. And we don't do them often. Every couple of years we go back to them because our people like the tunes that they can sing along with. But when we do go back to a more traditional melody, some people, not all the people, but some of us smile and some of us don't. It takes us back to a place that we may have loved and feel like we've lost that because we're older, more mature, different lifestyle, whatever we are. And others are like, ugh, I hated those days of sitting through whatever it is. But music has this ability to unlock. Miriam, Moshe, Moses, and Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, broke into song. Dancing with timbrels, Miriam led Mi Chamocha when reaching the other side. When I first heard this, when I first was, reading Torah for understanding, I thought bringing drums and timbrels with them, like imagine you're traveling through the desert and you're lugging things, seemed insane. Why would they bring these drums on the journey, first of all? And are they drums that we know of today? Is it the same? Maybe it was the drums of their hearts. Maybe it was that beating sound that they made it across, and so the heart was excited. When you're excited, your heart starts racing, or when you have too much coffee, your heart starts racing. Perhaps the drumming went from the regular beat, then all of a sudden people were behind them. The Egyptians were coming behind them. And now they've reached the other side, and they're looking back, and they're safe. And now their love dub was love dubbing much quicker. I don't know, I wasn't there. But sometimes we have exactly what we need inside. It's not about the luggage that we're bringing. It's not about, did I remember my drum? Did I remember my pen? Did I remember the thing that I needed most? But sometimes we don't know what's going to meet us on the other side. We don't know what awaits us. So they brought their songs on their back. And those songs bring us back, returning us to a moment, enabling this experience of the event as if we were there ourselves, reliving the power of that ancient moment each time we hear Mi Chamocha. It helps us to stand at the shore of the Sea of Reeds as Klal Yisrael, the people, the group, the community, remembering God's presence and God's might in those moments. For memory alone isn't enough. Shirat Hayam is and will always be an example of collective memory. It causes us to change the future based on today's behavior. We are the agents of hope and redemption. It brings me to a question. When is feeling triumph over your enemies acceptable, and when is it immoral? There's been some really insane, I was going to say crazy, but now the world replaced it with wild, which, come on, we already know wild also means crazy. It's the same thing, but this is insane. There have been some insane remarks by our president. Whether you like him or you don't, whether you voted for him or you didn't, some of the things that have been said are absolutely insane. When is the feeling triumph over your enemies acceptable, and when is it immoral? He sat with Netanyahu and said there should be a takeover of Gaza. This is not the answer. Judaism teaches to save life. Jew, non-Jew, it doesn't matter. It is immoral to hurt another human. Period. And so many of us are outraged. Many of us are shaking our heads thinking, is this guy nuts? It's only the beginning, folks. And so it's hard to understand and to place Torah to modern day times, to take the lessons. Some of them are super easy, and others we are left like, I don't really know how this is going to apply. Because God, being omnipotent, could have teleported the Jews out of Egypt without the trials and tribulations, resorting to plagues and the splitting of the sea. But we can also see, or it feels sometimes or often, that these events that happen are carefully constructed, and they're a chain of events that bring us to a place of being worthy of receiving liberation and Torah. This celebration, this Michamocha moment, as it were, Shirat Hayam, the going through of the story of Exodus, the highlights. The rejoicing in that was the acknowledgement and understanding that it was God's master plan. Rather than merely rejoicing with excitement of the punishment of their oppressors. We've seen others around the globe rejoice at the punishment of others. We as Jews, we as humans cannot fall into that trap. We cannot. For greatness only comes to those that have vision, that can see past, you did this to me, well, watch what I'll do to you. And I'm fearful, and I think many of us are, about the plan of the administration of the United States of America in these moments. The vision seems really cloudy for humanity, but extremely driven, feeling very dictator-like. And so we're reminded of living out, riding out the tribulations of life to find triumph, but it feels really far off. And it's hard. And we're left grappling and we're left questioning and we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to give it time. And it's scary. But we're not going to stand idly by. We're still going to show up in the world like we always do. We're still going to pray for something different. We're going to hold true to our values. And we're going to hold on to memory. The memory of the days when mana was enough for us. The awareness that we have to open our senses, that we have to grasp whatever we have. Because life doesn't always go our way. But sometimes we can't stop hoping. We can't stop looking for the indirect message of the master plan. Because I'm 100% certain that the hardest part for many of us is this questioning of God's plan. Because God's plan certainly isn't the plan of the way we are living and existing in this world in this moment. Because if I had to guess, and not to make God, not to humanize God, because that will make you even more messed up. But I can't imagine that this is God's plan. I can only imagine that it's another one of those we, not you or I perhaps, messed up. It is another source of we are given the blessing of choice between good and evil. And so even though we feel like we are in an evil world, being ruled by someone who doesn't align with our values, for the most part, maybe some of us are okay with it, that no matter what, we cannot stop doing, feeling, being, showing up, reminding ourselves of open senses and memory of how terrible it was for our people and eventually became a place, a micha mocha stop along the way, to be able to look back and say, we made it. Dear friends, the only way we're making it is together. Thank you for joining me, Bonnie and Lita, Rabbi Jay, Linda, Lisa. Together, we will go from one moment to another. May all of the captive be brought home. May there be more peace. May there be more openness. May there be more vision. Not colorblindness and not blinders, rather clear vision to see that all humanity, that every human life matters. We are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. Maybe a snowstorm, we don't know, but we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30. Have a good day, everybody. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai.